7 years into my mission to conquer Ethan, I once again found myself accompanying his beloved Selene to get an abortion. He threw down the bowl of chicken soup I had simmered for 6 hours, just because there was a thin layer of fat fearing Selene would gain weight if she drank it. His so-called friends were no better. "Ethan, the floor's dirty. Tell Yara to lick it clean." As I wrestled with holding onto my last shred of dignity or just letting go, a furious voice echoed in my ear. "Host, smash that filthy dog's head in, and there will be a reward." What was that? Let me tell you, I've deleted that sycophantic dog-licking system and replaced it with the Monarch of Malice system. Once your malice points are full, you won't just escape your conquest target, but you'll also get 10 billion in cash. Ethan was truly a twisted conquest target. Paranoid, hot-headed, brutal, and utterly devoid of empathy. The unfortunate truth was he was born into a prestigious, wealthy family, possessing a face so handsome it made countless girls' hearts skip a beat with just one glance. When I was 17, I entered his life as the daughter of his family's maid. Young Master Chen at that time lived a debauched life, looking down on everyone. Gambling, car racing, clubbing, he excelled at them all. Grandfather Chen was terribly vexed. Seeing that I was the same age, he ordered me to attend the same aristocratic school, both to watch over and to reign in the young master. Initially, Ethan loathed me, his little shadow. He deliberately told the driver to abandon me mid-route, stole my bus pass, forcing me to walk for over an hour until my legs ached. At school, my bag always contained a moldy loaf of bread someone had stuffed in or an expired milk carton deliberately spilled. But I had no time to clean up, as I still had to help Ethan copy notes and complete his pile of pending assignments. Seeing me obediently follow his every command, his bad friends sneered. "Young Master Ethan, Yara follows you like a dog. I'd say she's overstepped her maid duties. She's pretty cute, though. How about I offer a high price and take her off your hands, out of your sight?" Ethan's gaze swept across my fresh, dignified face before he kicked Leo squarely in the backside. "Scram, these days, you can't even buy a pretty female dog that comes when called and leaves when told." No matter how humiliated I was, I dared not show anger in front of him, because I wasn't the me of this world. In my old world, I had been in a traffic accident, lying in a coma. To return to my beloved mother who loved me with all her heart, I was forced to successfully conquer him. My mother had raised me alone, dedicating all her love to me. I couldn't let her experience the agony of a parent outliving their child. The system felt pity for me. "Ethan is truly despicable. He made you jump into the pool to retrieve a necklace when it was minus 10 degrees. And when it was 40 degrees, he still forced you to buy breakfast for his friends." I could only sigh. Nearly 7 years and still no success. Can't I really change targets? "I'm sorry, I don't have the authority to do that," the system said, full of remorse. Who knew this was originally a melodramatic story? The male lead is both overbearing and extremely perverted. I silently thought back. It wasn't that I hadn't tried hard enough, but because Ethan was incredibly stubborn. In his heart, there was only one person, his white moonlight, Selene. She was his childhood friend, the one who had comforted him after he lost his parents. Later, the Xiao family moved abroad. I heard she went through boyfriends like water, from one foreign lover to the next, but she never once thought of returning to be with Ethan. Yet, Selene's influence was so powerful. Even though she would never belong to him, she remained like the moon, eternally suspended in his heart. Ethan and I had only ever had one moment of true closeness. His sworn rival, Alex, provoked him, asking if he dared to race on that treacherous mountain road. Ethan had never feared death. Arrogantly, he flipped him off, then strode to his race car and climbed in. Oh God, it was a winding mountain road. One wrong move and he'd plunge into a 1,000-foot abyss. And he'd been drinking. I knew why he was so reckless that day. On the very same day, Selene was getting married to a man of 8 mixed ethnicities. Upon hearing the news, Ethan nearly slit his wrists. Coward, a cuckold, I cursed him, yet I still had to painstakingly cook him a hangover soup. Who knew? The moment I turned my back to the kitchen, he sped straight to the racetrack. The sky was foggy. I took a deep breath and tried to stop him. "Ethan, you can't go." "Yara, what right do you have to forbid me?" At that time, I was not only the maid's daughter, but also the CEO's secretary for Chen Group. Grandfather Chen had sponsored me to study at the best business school. Ostensibly, he wanted me to be Ethan's right-hand woman, but in reality, all responsibilities fell on my shoulders. I patiently advised him, "Your grandfather's birthday is coming soon. He surely wouldn't want to see you celebrating it with a cane." He hesitated for a moment. Leo, standing nearby, chimed in, "This bitch is meddling again. Can't you see Ethan is upset and needs to blow off some steam?" I sneered. "Leo, your family owns a hospital. I have reason to believe you're deliberately egging Ethan on to get injured so you can profit from his medical bills." "Whoa, Ethan, your little bitch is even baring her fangs now." Ethan, who usually relished his flattery, immediately roared at me. Alex crossed his arms and raised an eyebrow. "So, are you racing or not?" Ethan staggered forward. "Race then, who's afraid?" In a panic, I wrapped my arms tightly around his waist. "Let me." With that, I put on a helmet, swung my long leg over the motorcycle, and settled in with neat, decisive movements. Whistles erupted around us. "That girl is so cool," Leo pouted. "Cool, she's just a pretty face, a decorative vase." Not at all. Heaven knows, over the years, to deal with Ethan's sudden whims, I had trained myself to drive supercars like they were flying. He watched my retreating back, grinding his teeth in fury while trying to save face. "If you embarrass me, you're out of Chen Group immediately." My rival's figure still loomed ahead. The mountain fog was thick. If I lost, Ethan would surely crush me. I couldn't lose. Gritting my teeth, I threw caution to the wind and floored the accelerator. At the dangerous curve, I overtook Alex. "Yara, do you have a death wish?" For some reason, his speed had slowed down. I won, but my brakes malfunctioned. The motorcycle flipped sideways right at the finish line. My body was covered in injuries. "Do you like me that much?" Ethan looked at me, his gaze complex, no longer as cold as before. "Yes," I gritted out, nodding just before I passed out. During my recovery, those were perhaps the kindest days Ethan treated me. At least he stopped yelling and ordering me around like a beast of burden. He even went personally to Nanla Alley to buy me osmanthus cakes, my favorite. Leo pouted, "Don't think that just because you won a race, Ethan loves you now." I kept silent, fearing that another word would only annoy Ethan. Seeing my lack of response, Leo turned to flatter him again. "Ethan, I hear Selene and her husband have been fighting lately. Do you want to buy her a diamond necklace to cheer her up?" Bring her the $30 million blue sapphire I just bid on a few days ago." "Understood. I'll give it to her from myself so her husband won't suspect anything." It was truly infuriating. For years, Leo had been extorting benefits from Ethan, then exchanging paltry bits of information about Selene in return. I looked at him with disdain, regarding him as a fool. Who knew Ethan would mistake my gaze for jealousy? He coughed awkwardly, trying to hide it. "Yara, don't overthink it. This is for you." He removed a necklace from his neck and casually tossed it onto my hospital bed. One glance and I recognized it, the very item a girl in a black lace bunny outfit had thrust into his hand at the bar the other night. It cost me 66 yuan. Last night, Assistant Lisa, whom I had secretly assigned to follow him, reported the details. The young master was very drunk and accepted whatever the beer girls offered. So, in his eyes, I was only worthy of second-hand goods from a bar girl. I had thought that with Selene married, Ethan would eventually come to his senses. Who knew that on the very night I was discharged from the hospital, he called, ordering me to quickly go to the market for the best chicken and then to his grandfather's for the finest 1,000-year-old ginseng. "I need a pot of top-quality stewed chicken." I looked at the clock. 4:00 a.m. Is this really necessary? It has to be simmered for at least 6 hours, or the flavor won't be right. I couldn't hold back. "Is this for grandfather?" "No, Selene is back in the country, divorced. She's not keeping that scumbag's child. Hurry up and cook it, then bring it to the hospital. It's her first abortion, she has no experience," he said, as if I had experience. My chest hadn't even fully healed, yet rage surged into my throat. What a dogshit plot. Selene returned only to get an abortion. What the hell was I even conquering anymore? Yet Ethan kept calling, sometimes telling me to buy Hermes scarves, other times rushing me to prepare sanitary pads. Leo even sent a taunting text message. "You bitch, I told you, no matter how well you lick boots, you're not even half a fingernail of Selene's." I was tired. I didn't want to play this game anymore. Just as I was about to voice my defiance, my phone pinged. Assistant Lisa had sent me a shocking message, giving me the courage to continue this conquest game. At the hospital, before I could even open my mouth, Leo began to curse me out. "Yara, what are you doing? Selene has been out of surgery for 3 minutes and you're just now dawdling in? I didn't bother arguing with such a person. He snatched the soup container from my hands so violently that I winced in pain, stepping back and bumping right into Ethan, who had just entered. Leo fed Selene the soup, not forgetting to add fuel to the fire. Ethan, your bitch is useless. Not only is the soup late, but she didn't even skim the fat. Trying to fatten Selene up, are we? That's his specialty, stirring trouble. Sure enough, Ethan immediately commanded, Yara, go back and cook another pot. You lunatic, I said coldly. The ginseng is all gone. Leo interjected, if you don't want to do it, just say so. Everyone knows Grandfather Chen still has plenty. Selene weakly piped up, Ethan, does your secretary look down on me? How could Ethan bear to let his goddess feel aggrieved? He flung his hand, sending the soup bowl crashing to the floor. Leo cackled, Yara, lick the floor clean and apologize to Selene. I endured to my absolute limit. Smack, I flung the stack of photos assistant Lisa had just sent. In the pictures, Leo and Selene were passionately embracing and kissing on a sofa. Leo turned ashen and leaped up, his eyes glaring at me as if he wanted to kill. Selene immediately stood, weakly protesting. Ethan, don't misunderstand. That day I had trouble breathing and fainted. Leo was just giving me CPR. I was stunned, but I had to admit I was deeply shocked. CPR that required squeezing her chin and hugging her waist so tightly? Ethan's face darkened like the bottom of a pot as he turned and roared at me. Yara, that's enough. I believe every word Selene says. Obey Leo, or get out of the Chen family immediately. It was the same old trick, always effective. Hot blood surged through my veins. The system's disgruntled voice echoed in my ear again. Host, kick that filthy dog in the head and there will be a reward. What was that? It grumbled, explaining, this is the system that intervenes when it sees injustice. I've had enough of this brain-dead, cuckolded male lead. Your performance isn't bad. I used all my power to sever the dog-licking system and upgraded it to the Monarch of Malice system. Once your malice points are full, you'll get 10 billion to take back to your old world. Sounds great, but don't celebrate yet. To increase your malice points, you must attack your conquest target in 3 ways: physically, financially, and mentally. What if you fail? You'll be struck by lightning and die on the spot. I flinched. You mean it's a fight to the death between Ethan and me? Exactly. Seeing me clench my fists, it even tried to tease. Humans can sometimes be soft-hearted. Given Grandfather Chen's kindness to you, can you really bring yourself to strike? I gave a cold laugh. Grandfather's kindness to me was conditional. Everything he did always put his grandson first. Otherwise, why would he stand idly by and let Ethan torment me for so many years, nearly killing me multiple times? Anyone complicit with evil will eventually face retribution. Leo lunged, trying to snatch my phone. I immediately smirked and swung my high heel forcefully at his arm. Ah! A pathetic scream echoed through the room. Ethan was horrified. Yara, are you crazy? Yes, I am crazy. Do you have a cure? I've had enough of your hypocritical face. From now on, if you dare order me around again, I'll show you just how crazy I can be. Leo's face contorted in pain, yet he still tried to lunge and choke me. But alas, over the years, cleaning up Ethan's messes, I had picked up a bit of self-defense. Dealing with a drunkard like him was child's play. I seized the opportunity, kicked him a few times, then strode directly in front of Selene and dumped the remaining soup from the thermos all over her. The golden soup streamed down her hair and face. Selene shrieked, "You lowly maid, what have you done?" Ethan's eyes poisoned me with his gaze. Yara, get down on your knees and apologize, then take off all your clothes for Selene, or you'll die a very ugly death. Without warning, I took off my other high heel and flung it straight at his head. Ethan clutched the rising welt, utterly stunned. You dare hit me? Do I need to pick a special day to slap you? Inside my head, the system cheered excitedly. Congratulations on completing physical and mental attacks. Malice progression, 5%. Indeed, attacking Selene and Leo also counted as a mental attack on Ethan. Excellent. Those 3 shameless musketeers could just wait for me to settle scores, one by one. Leaving the hospital, the system sighed as it looked at the progress bar. It turns out hurting someone is far easier than moving them. It was true. I had been trampled on like a drowned dog for 7 years. Ethan's favorability towards me had only ever reached a maximum of 50%, always easily plummeting. The day Selene got married, it even dropped into the negative. Yet today, simply giving them a good beating freely increased his favorability by 5%. People say, don't stubbornly walk down the wrong path forever. My phone rang. I thought it was grandfather Chen calling to question me about the ginseng. After all, what Ethan had asked me to fetch was his life-extending medicine. But at the nursing home, he looked at me sternly. Yara, do you know that if Ethan gets hurt, I can have you put in jail? I bowed my head in silence. Every spoiled child has a spoiled parent backing them up, and the Chen family was no exception. Grandfather demanded that I unconditionally obey Ethan. His reason was simply that Ethan had lost his parents young, so he deserved everything he wanted. Before, Ethan had blinded a classmate with a pencil, and it was grandfather who used money to smooth things over. Yara, I know you like Ethan and are jealous when he treats other women well, but a master is a master, and a servant is a servant. Don't dream of things you shouldn't. That year, Ethan, underage and drunk, nearly broke his leg while driving and caused a pregnant woman to miscarry. Grandfather worried that if he became disabled, no one would want him. He had once hinted that I would become a daughter-in-law of the Chen family, that crossing the bridge and removing the planks game, those two played it so skillfully. I understood grandfather's schemes, so I obediently bowed my head and agreed. Ethan brought Selene to the company, loudly announcing, "From today, the position of vice general manager will be taken by Ms. Selene." The entire hall buzzed. Since grandfather fell ill, all major contracts had been brought in by me. I entertained clients, researched company development directions, and had to clean up all the messes the young master left behind. Ethan merely wore the hat of an heir. Apart from his debauched lifestyle, he accomplished nothing. Now some random foreign student wants to sit on top of me. Everyone was speechless. Ethan glared at me, his voice full of anger. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and clear out your office, clean it yourself every day, and put in Selene's favorite champagne roses." He loved to treat me like a servant in front of others, as if that was the only way he could find some sense of accomplishment. The marketing director couldn't stand it. Mr. Chen, although Ms. Yara is only the general manager's secretary by title, everyone knows her contributions. The technical director also spoke up. Thanks to Ms. Yara's full support, the new product was researched and developed in time and is ready to dominate the market. Now to let someone who knows nothing take charge, isn't that letting an outsider dictate internal affairs? Ethan's face darkened. He didn't know. I had already secretly sent Selene's embellished academic resume to all the executives. Ethan went furious. "I am the CEO. Anyone who disagrees, get out immediately." I seized the moment and threw my employee ID card down. Then I don't need that 2,000 yuan monthly salary anymore. The Chen family may have raised me, but I've brought billions in profits to the company. From now on, we owe each other nothing. You dare? Ethan trembled with rage. The CFO couldn't stand it. Mr. Chen, honestly, with Ms. Yara's top-tier abilities, she could get offers of millions of dollars anywhere. If you won't give her a raise, then please let her go. Ethan looked at me with complex eyes. Then I'll increase it by 200 yuan, no more. He must think he was giving alms to a beggar. Meanwhile, he had promised Selene an annual salary of 20 million yuan. My suppressed anger exploded, and I slapped him directly across the face. "You scumbag, stop dreaming." "If I wasn't showing respect to grandfather, I would have kicked you out long ago," I retorted. "You're a useless good-for-nothing, only capable of relying on divorced women or hanging out with friends in nightclubs. If this company doesn't collapse in your hands, I'll write my name backward." Selene pouted. "Ethan, don't bother with that bitch." Ethan was almost fainting with rage, and Selene immediately gently stroked his back to soothe him. As for me, I turned and walked away, not bothering to look back. The system was stunned. "Congratulations, host, you have completed physical and mental attacks. Current malice mission progress, 10%. This is just the appetizer. Ethan's coming days will only get more miserable." After my outburst, my spirits felt significantly better. I started choosing from a list of companies that headhunters had sent me, intending to aim precisely and strike directly at the Chen family. My phone rang. Alex's voice was as unpleasant as ever. "Your fool's object of affection is back. It seems you've finally come to your senses." Ah, his sworn rival. Of course, he knew just how much I used to lick Ethan's boots. I frowned. If Mr. Alex is only calling to mock me, then there's no need to say anything further. "Hold on, I heard you quit. How about coming to help me?" "Are you kidding?" Before, to retaliate against Alex, Ethan had ordered me to snatch a massive business deal from the Chen family. It was worth no small sum. "I like your decisive way of acting, working without regard for anyone." I raised an eyebrow. Mr. Alex, aren't you afraid I'll go back to Ethan and betray you? If I'm afraid, then so be it. A soft laugh came from the other end of the line. Yara, I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. Ever since you bested me on the racetrack, I knew you weren't simple. You'd risk your life for your goals. Of course. It's just that no one knows I'm risking my life just to find my way home. In my mind, I calculated that the Chen family and Alex's family were equally powerful, with many overlapping business interests. If I acted from Alex's side, it would definitely be more effective than simply applying to a new company. The deal was successful. I decisively agreed. A great opportunity to prove myself had arrived. Originally, to complete my conquest mission, I had drawn on all the academic spirit I had from my days with my mother, even passing the Tsinghua entrance exam, to meticulously study Ethan's preferences. I even plotted and strategized to win in the business world, all just to please him. Unfortunately, a blockhead's mind would never brighten. Water can carry a boat, but it can also overturn it. When I heard that a Middle Eastern magnate was about to invest, I drafted a perfect project proposal. Alex's eyes lit up. Yara, you truly live up to your reputation? Ethan also received the news. To help Selene establish herself in the company, he handed the project over to her, ordering all employees to give her their utmost support. I understood. Selene's married status was already awkward. To be openly together, she needed the aura of a female lead. And the title of business queen sounded fitting. My former colleagues complained to me. That kind of woman doesn't even understand financial reports. How can she sit above the CFO? She has no technical skills, just points fingers at new products all day, as if trying to prove her brain is full of grass. I laughed until my stomach ached. Before, Ethan's foolish decisions had me shouldering the burden. Now, the one taking 50 steps was walking with the one taking 100 steps. No one was there to support them anymore. I just waited for their farce to unfold. At the banquet, businessmen from all over Chenzhou City wanted to latch onto the Middle Eastern investor. Alex and I walked in, immediately encountering Ethan and Selene. Yara, you hussy, how dare you stand next to my sworn enemy? I shrugged. Indeed, a dog's mouth can only spew foulness. I scoffed. Better than you, at least. You collect all sorts of trash, truly a professional at salvaging scraps. Selene's face turned white with anger. Apologize to Selene right now. System announced, target has been mentally attacked. When there's a weakness, it's easy to hit home. Ethan flared up, lunging to drag me away. Alex stepped forward, blocking him. Mr. Chen, in front of so many people, don't you think it's inappropriate to lay hands on my employee? She's been my dog for 7 years. What right do you have to interfere? It would be strange if I weren't furious upon hearing that. Even if it was just a conquest mission, I had put effort into him. I hooked my arm through Alex's. Mr. Alex, reasoning with an animal only devalues oneself. Let's go in. Yara? Ethan was so angry he nearly jumped. I didn't even bother to look back. At the Middle Eastern magnate's table, I asked my assistant to bring out a rare Qinghua porcelain vase. He chuckled delightedly, stammering his thanks in broken English. I then switched to Arabic, skillfully introducing a project worthy of investment. The other party's eyes lit up, and he immediately nodded, wanting to go on a site visit with me. No one knew that I had previously studied less common languages and secretly researched client preferences, all just to show Ethan how dedicated I once was. The banquet hall fell silent. Guests were practically drooling with envy. Alex enthusiastically applauded repeatedly. Ethan looked at me, choked with anger. Seeing the person he most disdained receive such attention, he looked like he was about to explode. He dragged me to a corner. Yara, you grew up eating the Chen family's food. Now you've grown wings and want to betray your master? I knew perfectly well why he was furious. A brain entirely filled with romance like his understood nothing of the business world. Apart from a few Arabic numbers, he was completely clueless. Yara, transfer that contract to Selene, and I'll consider letting you come back to the company. Double your salary. His audacity was astounding. I scoffed. You're a real-life QR code, now no one would know you're full of trash unless they scanned you. Alex added another stab. So young Master Ethan's intuition goes straight to his brain, does it? Ethan angrily smashed his wine glass. Red wine splattered, staining the pants of the magnate who was about to speak with me. The man's face darkened, and he uttered a sentence in Arabic. Absolutely no cooperation with someone so emotionally unstable. I happily translated it back. Ethan turned as pale as a color palette. The system cheered. Confirmed. Target has sustained mental and financial attacks. Malice progression, 25% and 10%. Keep it up. Host, fantastic. Ethan was immediately blacklisted by the magnate, becoming the laughingstock of the city. He dragged me in front of grandfather. If she doesn't obey, just wait for grandfather to skin her alive. I gave a faint smile. An old tiger, no matter how fierce, is just a hello kitty now. And you, as an heir, crying and tattling to your grandfather all day, it's truly shameful. You! Ethan was about to argue, but his grandfather roared, "Little Yara, have you forgotten what I told you? A master is a master, a servant is a servant, that can never change in this lifetime." I retorted without reservation, "Grandfather, times have changed. That feudal mindset should be discarded. The Chen family may have raised me, but my food, clothes, and education all came from the salary I earned myself. I got into a top university based on my own merits, received scholarships for 4 straight years, and even tutored Ethan for free. All these years, I've poured my efforts into your family. If we're being fair, you are the ones who owe me. Grandfather coughed weakly. "Little Yara, why calculate everything so meticulously within a family? HMPH, when you needed me, you talked about master and servant. When it came to conditions, you dragged family ties into it. What two-faced dogs, truly detestable. What do I need to do to satisfy you? Of course, bring the contract back to Chen Group, sign a lifelong service agreement, and never oppose Ethan. Otherwise, I will blacklist you from the entire industry." Ethan smirked triumphantly. A chill ran through my heart. People praise the meat when they eat it, but complain about the dishes when they wash them all for self-interest. If it doesn't work, then destroy it. I took a deep breath. "Old man, I won't listen to a single word you say." "You dare?" Both grandfather and grandson roared in unison. I gave a cold laugh. "Do you know? The life-extending ginseng that I painstakingly found was taken by Ethan to cook nourishing soup for his first love who had an abortion. The doctor told you to eat lightly, but he, fearing she'd have difficulty giving birth, took the ginseng every day and cooked it like plain radish to give to her. From today on, you're out of medicine." Grandfather's eyes widened. "Ethan, I loved you so much and you dared to covet even my tonic. It's all because of this conniving woman. She only said the medicine was hard to find, not impossible." Grandfather was so angry he passed out. After the emergency treatment, apart from his eyes, his entire body was paralyzed. For several days, I took care of matters at the hospital. Only then did Ethan realize how hard and grueling it was for 100 patients. He almost used up all his resources. He texted me, "Yara, isn't that enough? You know grandfather's health best. Don't leave at a time like this. Are you playing hard to get? I don't believe that after loving me for so many years, you'd give up so easily. Firing you is only temporary. You're too capable and made Selene uneasy. Come back quickly and I'll triple your salary." I remained silent. Until he saw me on the hot search, personally taking the Middle Eastern magnate on a citywide tour for reconnaissance. He called frantically, "Yara, do you know how important this deal is to me?" "Of course I do." In the original story, it was thanks to this deal that he ascended to become the #1 tycoon. Hearing him rave, spitting foam into the phone, I quickly held the phone far from my ear. Receiving no reply, he grew angrier. "Yara, you're just doing this to force me to stay with you, aren't you? Fine, as long as you bring back the contract, I agree to let you be my secret mistress." Not just me, even the system was nauseated. "Host, he's making me sick." I burst out laughing, then unleashed a string of colorful insults. "Is that thing on your neck just to make you look taller? I suspect the existence of your brain-dead mind is a medical miracle. When humans evolved, you must have been hiding somewhere, otherwise, why would you use your mouth to walk?" Ethan stood dumbfounded, unable to comprehend when his obedient lamb had transformed into a gray wolf, biting without letting go, cursing without reserve. The system watched the mental attack stats soar, praising me profusely. Just too much praise, such sharp remarks. I learned them all from my online friends on Jeeg. I followed the Middle Eastern magnate, flying everywhere in a helicopter, never expecting someone to be so crazy as to pull a trick behind my back. High above the clouds, thousands of feet up, the pilot suddenly clutched his stomach in agony, sweating profusely, his mind gradually blurring, his hand still desperately clinging to the controls. Alex panicked. The wealthy bodyguards had never encountered such an unforeseen incident, frantically grabbing the walkie-talkie to call the ground. The magnate outwardly pretended to be calm, but his fists were clenched tight. I didn't have time to think. "Alex, pull the pilot out. I'll fly." Yara, you're not serious, are you? Alex knew I was excellent at racing, but who would have thought I could also fly a plane? This was no time for explanations. I immediately sat in the pilot's seat, my movements still a bit clumsy, but quickly reactivating the long-hidden memories of flying. The helicopter lurched violently, free-falling for a moment, crashing noisily, and then finally stabilized. Half an hour later, with the cooperation of ground personnel, I landed safely, my entire shirt back-soaked. The magnate gave a forced smile, praising me in broken Chinese. Yara, you saved my life, I'm proud of you. After a life-or-death experience, the survey trip concluded. On behalf of Alex's company, I signed an unprecedented large order. This news immediately exploded in the high society. I began investigating the pilot's stomach pain. Before the flight, he had been hospitalized for a health checkup, and all his food and drink were supplied by the hospital. Hearing that it was Leo's family hospital, I understood 7 or 8/10 of it immediately. Sharing common interests, why would that hunting dog Leo let me go? They harbored the mentality that if they couldn't have it, they'd smash it, wanting to provoke the conglomerate behind the Middle Eastern magnate. They wanted to eliminate me, dragging Alex down with me, a move to kill with a borrowed knife. They had given me such a generous gift. Shouldn't I return the favor? At the bar, a bribed waiter led me to the door of a private room. This was Ethan's group's base. Leo's voice echoed out. Damn it, I can't believe Yara has such a strong life force. She flew a helicopter and still didn't die. Seleni's soft, hurried breathing could be heard. Don't mention it. It's all Ethan's fault for being useless, forcing you to act and leave no traces, right? Don't worry. Even if we're discovered, there'll be a scapegoat with clear motives to take the blame. I'm not stupid. Why would I do dirty work myself? Not like that fool Ethan, who, with just a few words of instigation, treats his most loyal person like a dog. Indeed, my guess was right. That pilot had fallen into a trap. It was just a pity Leo was so good at covering his tracks, erasing all traces. He thought that if the pilot died, all of us on the plane would surely die. But who knew that, anticipating a day Ethan might fancy going to the sky, I had learned to fly a plane long ago. Based only on that recording, it wasn't enough to prove he was the mastermind. I turned and left, secretly investigating Leo's family hospital. Being able to handle dirty business so clearly showed this wasn't their first time, nor would it be their last. I had to admit, Ethan truly had some male lead aura. After losing the magnate's huge contract, he quickly latched onto a wealthy older woman in the city. Relying on his handsome face and racing charm, the company immediately assigned him an important project. Even veteran employees began to look at him differently. They proactively revealed to me, Mr. Chen is unwilling to lose to Alex's family and intends to compete with you for that land. I gave a cold laugh. Real estate is about to collapse and he's only jumping in now. Isn't it too late? Ethan was just seizing land to extract money from people's home purchases, using it as circulating capital. As for whether those houses would ever be built, he didn't care. How could I let such a dirty CEO have his way? I went to the racetrack and found a tall, handsome, bright-faced young man named Kyan. His racing skills were excellent, exactly the type wealthy older women liked. Oh, I forgot to mention, Kyan was actually an outstanding male model I'd scouted from a bar. He was very ambitious, a quick learner, and knew all the tricks to charming women by heart. I invested money in training him, giving him opportunities to compete on the racetrack, taking him to high society parties, turning him into a handsome racer with unlimited potential. Initially, I intended to use Kyan as a secret weapon to interfere with and destroy the relationship between Ethan and Selene. Who knew Ethan wouldn't even care about being cuckolded, so I changed direction. I arranged for Kyan to accidentally meet that wealthy older woman. Before long, news spread in society that Ethan had been dumped by the rich woman. Losing his support, he suffered heavy losses at auctions, and his investments repeatedly failed. Meanwhile, Selene enjoyed her high salary, spending her days shopping for handbags. Employee dissatisfaction at the company grew daily, and several talented individuals were already planning to leave. When a building is about to collapse, there are always people behind the scenes adding fuel to the fire. I persuaded Alex to hire them. Immediately, each one expressed their gratitude, scrambling to send red envelopes in the group chat. Alex sighed. I knew you weren't simple, but I never expected so many people to follow you at such a young age. Thankfully, Ethan is foolish enough, or I would surely be the one getting beat. You flatter me, Mr. Alex. Why would I trick you? You may only seem like a chief secretary at first glance, but straight out of school, you already secured orders from industry giants. Your abilities are truly formidable. I had always wanted to recruit you to my company. It's a pity you never paid attention before. Yes, all these years to return home, I leveraged my foresight, desperately studied, and meticulously planned every step, hoping to achieve enough to make Ethan see me differently. But a dog only cares about gnawing on bones and scavenging scraps. It has little interest in delicacies. Who can I blame for that? Alex patted my shoulder. I'm leaving all the work arrangements to you. I'm off to meet my girlfriend. Understood. That night, I worked late. As I reached my doorstep, I saw a tall figure stepping out. Ethan wore an expensive overcoat, but his face was haggard, like a rich young master who had fallen from the clouds into the mud. I raised an eyebrow. Mr. Chen, is there something I can help you with? Yara, you're quite impressive. You've only been with Alex for less than half a year and already moved into a luxury apartment. You flatter me. Compared to previously signing contracts worth hundreds of millions for you for a mere 2,000 yuan, my current job is much more lucrative. Wasn't living in my house enough for you? I let out a bitter laugh. If you're just here to talk nonsense, please leave. Wait, I saw Alex embracing another girl. So what? How can you accept my enemy being with another woman but refuse to forgive Selene? Because I prefer a boss who makes promises a reality over someone who only draws illusions. Ethan gritted his teeth. Just one apartment was enough to fool you? How pathetic. No matter how much you contribute, you can never dream of entering the Chen family's door. I didn't care. From the very beginning, Alex didn't offer me an olive branch out of affection. The essence of human interaction is benefit. He valued my abilities, and I needed his support. What's wrong with both sides benefiting? As for the Chen family, they clung to me, sucked my blood, and forced me to endure being their bootlicking dog. Yara, why have you become like this? Before, you always forgave my mistakes easily. Why are you so heartless this time? Faced with someone who never self-reflected, only blaming others, I could only coldly slam the door shut. The door hit his nose directly, blood gushing out. Business failures, employees fleeing, misfortunes following one after another like a domino effect. Ethan was overwhelmed and disoriented, drunk as a drowned corpse. The Chen family's stock plummeted. Alex laughed, shaking all over. Who would ever offend such a resolute and strong woman? He'll go to hell without even realizing it. I let out a soft laugh. Hell, this is clearly the shortest path for me to return home. I accelerated, tightening the noose around Ethan. I was one step ahead of him, launching a new product that the market eagerly awaited. New, talented actors starred in the commercials. The movie, released for 1 month, swept box office revenues of 50 billion yuan, lifting Alex's products like a kite in the wind. Ethan, meanwhile, was as anxious as ants on a hot pan. With his product preempted by others, he lost a golden opportunity. Goods piled up in his factory, and he couldn't even pay his workers' salaries. The once arrogant young Master Chen now dressed shabbily like an insurance salesman, knocking on doors to sell goods every day. The sad truth was, few bothered to buy from him, as he had been too arrogant and disdainful of people in the past. It was truly a case of sowing the wind and reaping the whirlwind. He disconsolately sought me out. Yara, you did all this just to see how much I meant to you, didn't you? You've won. Please stop, or I won't even have money for grandfather's medicine. I took a step closer, looking directly into those eyes that once held boundless arrogance. Stop. Years ago, when I searched for a key in -10-degree weather, why didn't you tell me to stop? When I had a 40-degree fever and still had to run to buy diamonds for Selene, why didn't you stop? Not to mention all the times I risked my life drinking for you and racing on the track. If not for the belief of returning home, I would have given up long ago. With each word I uttered, his face grew paler. Finally, I dropped 2 coins to the ground, my voice icy. My pity for you is only worth this much. Now that I've paid, our grievances are over. His eyes were bloodshot, his lips bitten until they bled. The noble young Master Chen finally remembered. 1 year, he took Selene camping in the mountains, then abandoned me halfway, forcing me to walk back alone. It poured rain, and he threw 2 coins at me, telling me to take the bus. In the desolate mountains, where would I find a bus? He just wanted to amuse Selene and make her laugh. I trudged for a day and a night before finally reaching home, drenched like a drowned rat, my feet covered in bloody blisters, nearly dying from illness. Yet, the first thing I did when I opened my eyes was to rush to North City to buy wontons for Selene. When I brought them, she complained they were cold, and Ethan smashed the entire box at me. Remembering that, I called out to him as he was turning away. He was surprised, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. What awaited him was a cup of hot coffee splashed directly onto his face. The boiling water scalded his skin, dripping down his neck. Strangely, Ethan didn't curse or yell, he just looked at me deeply, then silently turned and left. As expected, Ethan eventually turned against Selene. Everyone has their own priorities, starting with themselves, then others. No matter how much Ethan liked Selene, he couldn't overcome his self-preservation instinct. He understood the implications of my accusations, believing I was jealous and had plotted revenge against him. Selene was demoted and ordered to return all the luxury cars and jewelry she had previously received. Who would willingly give up something they had already acquired? She immediately cried and whined, saying she had only divorced her ex-husband and returned to the country because she couldn't forget Ethan. I kindly offered a video, clearly showing her poor ex-husband demanding a divorce because he had caught Selene and Leo rolling around in bed. The child in her womb was also Leo's. Initially, Selene intended to have the child, but Leo had no intention of marrying a divorced woman, fearing he'd be tied down and also lose his naive friend Ethan. So he both coaxed and deceived her, forcing Selene to have an abortion, promising to take her abroad to live a luxurious life. She agreed, exploiting Ethan's lovesick brain to extort all sorts of expensive gifts. With Leo's help, Selene successfully infiltrated the Chen group, plundering a large sum and transferring it to an offshore account. These matters were revealed to me by Ethan's financial manager. That person had once warned his boss that Selene had ill intentions, but was cursed out in response and ordered to give Selene free rein. Gradually, the truth surfaced. Ethan was simultaneously betrayed by his lover and his best friend, so enraged he vomited blood on the spot. In a drunken stupor, he drove and crashed straight into the back of Leo's car. A once smooth driver, he evidently caused Leo to suffer a ruptured kidney, putting his life in danger. Ethan tried to escape, but I enthusiastically pointed out his escape route to Leo's family. Of course, I didn't call the police, I called the victim's family. Leo was an only child, and his entire family relied on him to amass wealth, so they had to save him at all costs. Thus, Ethan was dragged onto the operating table to have a kidney removed for Leo. The two, brothers to the bone, didn't die but ended up sharing a pair of kidneys. Leo initially wanted to pursue criminal charges, but Selene subtly suggested, "Since things have come to this, why not let the Chen family compensate us quickly?" A skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. Selling off the Chen family's assets would still yield a substantial sum, and Leo, who valued money above all else, immediately agreed. I then had Alex use a fake name to buy Ethan's villa and then leisurely went to visit Ethan in the hospital. Ethan's face was pale, and he weakly confessed, "Yara, I was wrong. I shouldn't have loved Selene, that jinx. I never knew she had already slept with Leo. You love me, don't you? Otherwise, why would you still visit me after I treated you so badly? You definitely haven't forgotten me. Does being loved make people harbor such indestructible illusions?" I admired my freshly done nails and indifferently said, "You're mistaken. I'm not here to visit you. I'm here to inform you that everything in your villa now belongs to me, including that painting by the young artist I helped you buy back then. Now he's famous, and each of his works auctions for tens of millions of dollars." Ethan's eyes widened. "Why are you only telling me now?" "Oh, right," I said. "I had my lawyer meticulously list every single item in the villa in the sales contract. If he changes his mind, he'll have to pay tenfold. Of course, the purpose was simply to make his already fragile nerves collapse on the spot. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also informed your grandfather about the good deed you did. He died of anger half an hour ago, unable to rest in peace." "Yara, you white-eyed wolf, why have you ruined me so terribly?" I gave a cold laugh. HMPH are only the wealthy allowed to commit whatever evil they wish, while the vulnerable are not allowed to resist. Your grandfather used money to hush up the school incident when you blinded someone. Did he ever think of pitying the victim? When you drove drunk and caused a pregnant woman to lose her child, did he ever think that baby also wanted to be born? How many people have you two, grandfather and grandson, blocked from their livelihood? Now it's time for you to go to hell? Ethan went berserk, smashing things. Before long, his surgical wound ripped open, and he fainted from the pain. Leo received the compensation. Before he could even gloat, scandals erupted on the hot search. Leo's family hospital was exposed for faking medical records, forcing lightly ill patients into chemotherapy for profit. Not only that, but child trafficking, organ trafficking, and the conspiracy to harm the pilot were also uncovered. The Middle Eastern magnate was enraged, instantly razing Leo's hospital to the ground. Cellini was also implicated as an accomplice, having embezzled company assets. On their way to being escorted to the police station, the two villains were involved in a serious accident. Thankfully, the driver and police were unharmed. As for the accursed couple, they were thrown from the car, then run over repeatedly by several other trucks until they were crushed beyond recognition. Was it a real accident? Hard to say. It was a highway at night, after all, and the drivers all claimed they didn't see anyone rush out. I recounted the news of the two being ground into mincemeat to Ethan. How pathetic, so crushed they don't even need cremation. The magnate, upon hearing this, even mused, they were luckier than a sheep in a tiger's cage. At least their flesh wasn't torn apart. Oh, he knows you were once close to those two and plans to visit you soon. Ethan was scared half to death. Yara, how did you become like this? You used to be so gentle and innocent. I let out a dry, cold laugh. That year, you and Leo held my head underwater in the swimming pool, not letting me surface just to make Cellini laugh. When I had severe pneumonia, you just indifferently said, I was drunk. Why didn't you think there would be a day like this then? If I hadn't acted first, perhaps I would be the one with the cut kidney and in an accident right now. The truth will forever be within the canon's range. Selfish people who only know how to indulge and trample on human rights like you don't deserve to live in this world. I pretended to call the magnate, and Ethan, terrified, ran for his life. The nurse told me that his kidney surgery wound was infected and he wouldn't live much longer. The day I completed my malice mission, the sun shone brightly. Before he died, Ethan sent me a long, tearful message, full of nothing but regret. My heart felt no ripples. There are countless paths in life, but only one cannot be turned back from. Monarch of Malice System, congratulations on completing the mission. Reward, 10 billion in cash. Reminder, returning to your original world requires energy consumption, and the reward will be reduced by 100-fold. I didn't hesitate, nodding to bring back 100 million. I opened my eyes to see my mother, her hair now completely white, sitting beside my bed. Yara, you're finally awake? Tears streamed from her eyes, and my own eyes blurred. The woman who had poured all her love into me had never given up. The way home needs no navigation. No matter how difficult, no matter how far, there will always be someone waiting for you under the light. Mom, I'm craving your tomato scrambled eggs so much. Just come home, and I'll make anything you want. The meaning of the journey home is to reunite with the one you've longed for. Thankfully, I had accomplished it all. The journey ahead is still very long, and many more stories await us to explore. See you in the next video.